Good evening to everyone at magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat. At ngayong gabi ng Webes ay makakasama po natin ang isa sa mga sabihin natin mga team sports na di gaanong kapopular pero it sparks interest niya lalo na sa ating mga mahilig sa adrenaline sports, po sa team sports, ball sports ko in particular. Yan po yung
Yes.
touch rugby or touch football. And we have with us para ipakilala sa atin itong touch rugby and touch football ang mga officials mula sa Touch Association Pilipinas dito po sa Sports Corner PH. Unahin ko po ang bagong alal na presidente ng TAP, Touch Association Pilipinas, Ms. Mika Perez. Ms. Mika, good evening and welcome to the program.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for having us.
And makakasama din po natin ang ating player and coach development director ng TAP na si Mr. Cholo Maabage. Kung tama yung pagkakabigkas sa inyong apelyido. Cholo, good evening and thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, good evening din, Gab. Cholo Mahabagi, ayan. Pero para mas madali, Coach Cholo.
Alright, para mas malinaw. Ikaw, Mika, ang tatawagin natin sa inyo, Ma'am Mika. So first...
Just Mika. Mika is fine.
Okay, Mika.
No need for ma'am. No need for ma'am.
All right. So thank you so much, Mika and Coach Cholo for joining us. I know you've been busy right now. Nilalatag ninyo yung roadmap for the next, sabihin natin, next 10 and a half months ng 2023 para sa TAP. Very busy para sa ating national team. Lalo na sa ating mga tournaments na isinasagawa na yon sa ating mga iba't ibang parte ng Metro Manila and of course the provinces. But kamusta na po kayo dyan sa TAP? You've been busy the past years even within this pandemic in promoting and engaging sa sports community natin itong touch football dito sa Pilipinas. Mika, go ahead.
Yes, we've been very busy the past year. So officially, we were only able to start playing since March 2022. So that was when the government allowed sports to finally start again after all the restrictions have been lifted. So that was the first month when we had an official tournament. And from that time, we were already trying to rebuild the community because we lost a lot of members due to the pandemic. So, a lot of our members are expats. So we lost a significant amount of touch players in the Philippines because of the pandemic. They flew back to their home countries. So what we really focused on for the past year was rebuilding the community and trying to, attract the old players to start playing again. So that was why we started the monthly tournaments after the middle of the year. So we officially started the monthly tournaments in August. And then ever since that time, we had a monthly tournament. So yeah, that's our focus. That's been our focus for the past year. And then this year, we're now making sure that, we're ready for international tournaments and for international events. So that's going to be the focus for 2023.
Bago ko makumusta si Cholo, during the pandemic, any activities ba na mga naka-line up dito sa TAP para ma-engage panlalo itong touch community sa pagte-training and conditioning at home habang iniintay niya yung go signal para magkaroon ulit kayo ng mga tournaments with added health protocols?
Sorry, is this the question for Cholo or for me?
Kay Mika po.
Okay. So during the pandemic, like when restrictions were still in place, we had a few remote activities. So part of that was having kind of like a game night with the rest of the community. So we did that, I believe, once or twice. And then Coach Cholo also did a few sessions where he, ran a Zoom session of like fitness and trying to stay in shape or trying to be fit while still observing restrictions in place at that time. So it was an effort of like encouraging people to do solo activities because we couldn't really do any team activities at that time, and also one of the things that we also did was we reposted old photos of our previous tournaments. So that was fun, like kind of looking back at the activities that we were able to do pre-pandemic. And we also got a lot of engagement on our social media channels with that, with people, tagging their old friends and seeing their old photos. So that was those were some of the things that we did during COVID when restrictions were still in place.
Coach Cholo, ikaw naman, kamusta na po kayo? Lalo na yung scope ninyo ay of course para sa development ng mga players and coaches. Ano ba yung mga initial reactions nila noon nalaman na sabik ulit sila na makapaglaro ng mga touch tournaments right after this pandemic? Yung hiatus natin, yun, nabalagi tayo sa ating mga tahanan, yung mga atleta. Tapos bigla, bumalik na tayo sa dating sigla.
Kasi maganda yung naging build-up eh. Kasi di ba from pandemic na walang training, yung previous question mo, ano ba yung mga nangyari? Kasi with any sporting or with any athlete, mahirap or hindi mahirap, pero isa sa mga challenge yung wala kang nilook forward na tournament tapos magte-training ka. Di ba? It takes a certain amount of character para para gigil ka pa rin mag-training kahit wala naman tournament. So, isa yun sa mga naging challenge. And then, nung last year nga, nagsimula by March, so, sinimulan nung TAP yung tournament in a very modified rules na setup. So, kahit sa blue pitch kami naglalaro sa field, ang ginawa namin, beach touch rules. So, sa beach touch na rules, anong meron doon? Mas maliit yung field, mas onti yung player, mas iksi yung kailangang gawing mga movements, yung pag-backpedal, yung pag-score. So, it was really a build-up para yung mga players, di ba, iniiwas din natin sa injury. Kaya ganun yung naging simula. So parang first 2 tournaments is a beach touch setup. Tapos after 2 months, tsaka palang nagkaroon ng full field na tournament na.
Okay, let's go to the basics right now. Touch football is somewhat combination, Coach Cholo, ng football saka rugby. Para doon sa mga interesado o mga beginners o mga first timers na nagnanais sa mag-aral o magbigay ng knowledge about the sport, what are the basics about sa touch football, yung differences compared to the other sports, yung mga ball sports natin, paano ito laruin at saan usually nilalaro?
Yes, so simulan natin sa ano ba yung parang history niya, origin niya, di ba? On a very basic sense, yung touch rugby is more so para siyang hindi pala parang, it is really a non-contact version ng rugby. Okay, so if we are familiar with Philippine Volcanoes, ito yung non-contact version nung nilalaro nung players natin na yun, nung team natin na yun. So, para mas maintindihan natin siya, para mas magkaroon tayo ng visual image, how it is played, para siyang patintero or mataya-tayang may bola. Okay, so kung sa rugby na tinatackle tayo, dito sa touch, once na na-touch ka, kahit sa damit pa yan, gabuhok, para kang natackle. So kailangan mo ibaba yung bola, and then doon magpo-progress yung paglalaro. Okay? Ano ba yung mga requirements or kailangan dito sa sport na to at saan to usually nilalaro? So usually or preferably sa field siya nilalaro. Dimension-wise, it's about 50 meters by 70 meters. Pero like any emerging sport and something na napakaganda naman dito sa sport natin is it's highly modifiable. Madali siyang i-manipulate, i-modify kung anong meron tayo. So, pwede siyang gawing indoor, pwede siyang gawin sa court. Kailangan lang natin i-adjust yung players, kailangan lang natin i-adjust yung certain parts ng rules. Okay? Pero, ganun siya nilalaro, ganun siya ginagawa. Okay? Ano pa ba yung mga, na-cover ko na ba yung sa tanong? Kung paano siya nilalaro, more or less? And saan siya usually nilalaro?
Pero alam ko, yung format nga pala, paano ito yung format ng bawat tournament, yung bawat laro ng
laro. Okay, so it's played 6 versus 6 yung pinaka setup niya. So 6 versus 6. Difference niya sa ibang sports is open substitution siya. Right? Isa to sa mga parang pag pinopromote yung sport, it is very inclusive. Kasi kung may imagine mo yung traditional or yung more popular sports such as basketball, volleyball, or football as in soccer, di ba? Parang yung substitution very limited. Di ba? At a given time, yung players na naglalaro, sila ng medyo matagal. With touch rugby, it's very inclusive in such a way na yung substitution open. So, kailangan lang lumabas yung players and then yung next player papasok agad. So, it's very inclusive. And again, yun nga, 6 versus 6. Ang pinagkaibahan niya sa maraming sport, you can only pass forward. Right? Yung isa sa mga crucial na difference niya. Ibig sabihin, you can only pass backward. And mali pala yung pag-aasabi. So you cannot pass forward. Dun sa mga sport natin, sanay tayo, di ba? Parang una-unahan natin yung defense. Tapos ipapasa sa atin paharap yung bola para ganun magkakaroon ng advantage. With this sport, with touch rugby, ang setup naman is hindi ka pwede magpasa forward. Kailangan mo pasa mo pa side or pa backwards. So tayo as a teammate, kailangan lagi tayo nasa likod ng bola. So ganun more or less yung setup. Okay, so para tayo talaga nakikipagpatentero or nakikipagmataya-taya doon sa kalaban natin.
At ano yung fundamentals na maaaring gamitin na ating mga manlalaro, especially yung mga clubs, yung mga teams natin, kapag sinubukan nito, lalo na sa mga beginners na?
When we say fundamentals, ito yung parang mga skills, no? Tama ba? Skills
Yes.
na, okay. So, in its most, ano ba? Roughly, or yung pinakamadaling pag-intindi dun sa skills, fundamental skills na ginagamit is pagtakbo, pagpasa, tsaka pagsalo. Basically, yun lang yung parang pinaka-essential na skills. Kasi dito, para makascore ka, kailangan mo lang naman dalhin yung bola dun sa score line ninyo, sa score area ninyo, and ibaba dun yung bola. So, it's really about pagtakbo, pagpasa ng bola, at pagsalo ng bola. So, in terms of fundamental skills, those three.
Ayan yung tagline ninyo sa TAPE, takbo, pasa, sa kasalo.
Yes.
Yes.
Kaya nga nagiging active nga yung ating mga players dito sa tatlong skills na maaaring gamitin nga doon sa mga players. Ayan, nagkabalik na si Mika. So currently, Miss Mika, ilan na ba yung mga active clubs na under TAPSA ngayon? Kasi itong NSA ito ay mga affiliates ito usually yung mga touch rugby o touch football clubs.
Yes, currently we have around 12 teams. So that's a combination of amateur teams and school teams. So roughly half of those 12 teams are school teams. So one of the things that we're also focusing for this year is making sure that we have more than 12 teams to grow the sport, to make sure that we get new clubs or create new clubs for this year. And one of the things that we're doing for this year is reaching out to schools outside of Metro Manila and teaching them the sport of touch rugby, particularly through the PE teachers. So Coach Cholo here has been very active in reaching out to those PE teachers. I believe he is going on like a trip soon to, I think, Cavite, right? Or Cavite and Sorsogon to teach and train those PE teachers on how to play touch rugby because we've had a lot of interest kasi nga it's a very easy sport to learn, especially for children. It's really ideal for all genders since it's a non-contact sport. It's also very fun to play. So in terms of like the interest, there is a lot of interest. It's just difficult to get resources on how to teach the sport because it's a team sport, so you need to be able to explain the rules very well to a large enough group of people because you have six players on each team, so that's at least 12 people. So currently 12 teams. We're hoping to have more at the end of the year through our initiatives for 2023.
And of course, Miss Mika, di lang nakascope sa Metro Manila and nearby provinces itong touch football. But also, inunti-unti na kayong kinikater yung mga nasa Visayas at Mindanao. Kaya of course, nagpapakilala na kayo ng gusto sa larong touch football, especially if they spark their interest sa mga provinces. And especially, yung nabanggit mo nga, si Coach Cholo, siya din yung nag-a-handle ng parang training and learning sa mga PE teachers Especially may pupuntahan ka ata sa Cavite. What about on your scope, yung sa pag-develop nga at pagpapakilala sa mga sa ating touch football or touch rugby sa mga probinsya?
Yes. Actually, yung pagpapakilala niya sa probinsya is still a very big opportunity. Kasi ngayon talaga, in terms of touch football focus na clubs, very focused pa lang dito sa Metro Manila. Siguro a little bit outside Metro Manila sa Pampanga, ganun pa lang. Pero outside Metro Manila and Visayas and Mindanao, meron sigurong iilan na rugby, tapos rugby clubs, and then tinuturo nila yung touch rugby as a progression or as a startup, as a start to introduce rugby. Pero again, mas rugby focus yon kaysa sa touch rugby focus. Similar sport but different in a way. So
Different.
may ganong alignment in a way. So again, it is still a very big opportunity. Parang katulad nga ng nasimulan ni Mika, ngayon pa lang nagkakaroon talaga ng big strides and initiatives para i-pass or i-share pa siya doon sa iba't ibang parts ng Philippines.
Okay, Mika, can we summarize how the 2022 it was for Touch Association Pilipinas? Because ito yung rebuild year, bounce back year from the health crisis it was. This is the time na nakabalik na tayo sa mga competitions na face-to-face. Nalaman natin kanina, March 2022, yung unang tournament ninyo right after the pandemic and the lifting of several restrictions. Parang afterwards, nagkasunod-sunod na mga tournaments at maraming mga touch athletes ang bumabalik on their own play.
Mm-hmm. So I think one word to summarize our initiatives for last year would be reintroduction. So as Cholo mentioned earlier, it's difficult to expect athletes to be in, good training form or in good playing form after being, not being able to train with their teammates for so long, or some of them have, let their fitness slide. That's understandable because of the pandemic. So 2022 has been really a reintroduction to everybody and to the community that, hey, we're starting again. We're having activities in the community again, and we're reaching out to the different clubs, and making sure that we, support them in their own initiatives to restart their clubs, because they lost a lot. Some of them lost a lot of members. So that's really the goal of all the monthly tournaments. And with the reintroduction of the Manila Touch League last year, so that was a huge thing for us. We haven't had a league since 2019. So January 2020 was the last time we had the league. So right before the pandemic started, that was the end of our all of our tournaments, basically. So since 2020, we had no activities in person. So reintroduction talaga, making sure that, if people are interested to join, they're very much welcome. Newbies are also welcome. We've had a lot of new players start just last year, especially with the schools, since they have freshmen coming in, they have new members to their varsity teams coming in. So we're very supportive of all of those activities.
Usually, parang buwan-buwan nga yung mga invitational tournaments na sinasabi na sanction ng top from junior up until the elite level, all genders. At meron kayong mga tournaments na ginagawa paggabi na, especially dyan sa may Circuit Makati. And since this is a non-contact sport, may mga health protocols pa rin ba na sinusunod ang ating mga players, Mika?
Right. Just to clarify, some of the activities that we do, like the Manila Touch League that happens every week, it's more of a social tournament. It's not really a social night, parang social games. It's not really a tournament. So anybody can come in, regardless of if you have a team or not, regardless of your playing ability. You can just drop in and play for a few hours with with your friends, or if you want to meet someone new. That's a great time. to kind of get to know the sport and see if you like it. That's also how I started playing touch rugby. I just dropped in on one of those evenings. So that's not a tournament. It's more of a social games nga, basically. And then the tournaments that we do, we always follow health protocols. So when we started in March, the reason why we did a beach touch tournament because it has less players on the field. So we've had a lot of comments from people saying like, oh, why beach touch? Like we really want to play like the full 6 versus 6 rules, right? But then you just have to tell the community that we still have to follow the rules. We want to make sure that everybody is safe. And we always require people joining in on our tournaments to submit their vaccination records. We don't allow people who are not vaccinated to participate in our tournaments. And we also make sure that they know the risks of joining a tournament since it is outdoors, but we can't guarantee that no one will get sick if they join. That's still a risk that they decide to take part of. So we have those in place. We also have medics in every tournament that we have. So this is not just for COVID, but then it's a sport. You cannot avoid injury. So we always have a medic in place or close by. So those are some of the things that we observe in terms of health protocols. And we make sure that everybody is safe. Basically, like outdoors, it's well ventilated, and people don't really like share their water bottles or whatever. Like it's we as much as possible we make sure that people still observe health protocols.
Linawin ko lang, clarify lang. Yung night play na sinasagawa, this is open also for those who are interested to play the sport, yung mga beginners?
Yes.
All right. Coach Cholo, what about on your case, a player and coach development? Kamusta ang role nyo in developing and molding yung ating mga players, coaches, sama na rin yung mga referees sa technical officials to abide with the rules ng ating IF and to add some pointers with it?
During the pandemic, talagang hindi naman masyado marami tournaments. After the pandemic na nagsimula mag-open up, it's really about making sure na yung pupunta healthy. Diba? Na kung nakakaramdam ba yung mga players natin ng symptoms, maaaring or talagang advice na wag nang pumunta, wag nang sumali. Kung na-expose, wag nang pumunta, wag nang sumali. I think in terms of health protocols during that time, yun yung parang pinaka key na step para hindi na kumalat pa yung COVID to the players, and during that tournament hindi siya mag-spark nung pag-spread pa nung COVID.
And how about yun sa physical and of course importante ito, mental health, emotional side of aspects ng ating mga players? Tuloy-tuloy ba yung monitoring sa kanila?
Right. So yung national team kasi was very flexible. Hindi pa talaga siya buong-buo, hindi pa ganoon ka-solid yung naging program before the pandemic. Ngayon pa lang talaga siya ginagawang solid. Ngayon pa lang siya mas tinututukan. Okay, so during that time, ang pinakakatod nga nabanggit ni Mika, isa doon sa mga ginawang activity, I guess, para rin matulungan yung mental health was to create that game night, di ba? Para magkaroon ng sense of bonding pa rin yung community and yung mga players natin.
Okay, what about the first 2 months of the year, January and the few days of February? Ano yung mga significant developments natin? Like, of course, meron kayong ongoing na parang search, parang nag-scout kayo ng mga potential national team members who expresses their interest, mag-fill up sila para maka-join sa national team going into 2 major tournaments next year and even 2024. Other than that, yung mga tournaments natin, unahin natin yung national team program kung saan ikaw yung may awak, Coach Cholo.
Yes, actually, nagsimula siya not January or February this year, but since October. And in terms of future tournaments, actually this year na siya. Right? Isa yun sa mga solid na tournament na nilook forward natin is this year, which is Asian Touch Cup happening on September. Right? And then yung next year na mas malaki pa doon is yung Touch World Cup naman na nilook forward natin at pinaplano natin yung program to it. Okay? Ano ba yung ginagawa? Ano yung mga sinisimulan natin? So, recently, and ngayon, ongoing pa din yung pag-build ng partnership. Nabanggit ko nga, from October, we were training with International School Manila. So it's 1 weekday yung mga players that has shown potential and interest na makapaglaro dun sa national level and be part of the national development team already took part in it. So tinuruan natin sila doon ng mga iba't ibang plays, yung mga ni-remind sila ng mga basics, ng mga fundamentals. And from there, ngayon pa lang ulit, tinutuloy pa natin kung yung pagpili, yung pag-screen doon sa mga players. We are also creating partnerships na I think mas maano ni Mika, share yung other partnerships that we are building.
Okay, Mika.
Right. So, sorry, for the national team, so of course, like we would need resources to help our players become like the best athlete and be at the peak level of performance by the time that they go on Asian Cup or to World Cup for next year. So we are currently in talks with a few people or a few brands that we hope to partner up with to make sure that, you know, they're well equipped. Some of those companies and brands that we're talking to, you know, some of them are gyms, some of them are like, you know, fitness brands, and basically brands that can help us you know, improve our players. They're national team level players, they're very good athletes. So, you know, we want to make people know that these types of players and athletes exist in such a niche sport, right? So that's one of the things that we're doing for our national team. And as Chola said, we're still, you know, in the middle of getting the expression of interest from people, not just from locally, but also internationally. If they're eligible to play, they can express interest. And then we will have a selection that will happen before the tournament so that we were able to fairly and, you know, fairly and properly select a team that's fit for international competition, for Asian Cup and also for World Cup. So those are the things, some of the things that we're doing for the national team. And in terms of activities for this year, so it's only February, but we've already done 2 tournaments so far. We had the first club sponsored tournament last this January, the Pirates Invitational. So that's the first time that they hosted a tournament. So we're very happy that a club has stepped up and expressed, you know, like, hey, this is something that we want to do. So we hope that more clubs will take initiative and host another one of our one of the monthly tournaments. And then this February we did the Faith Invitationals in Faith Academy in Cainta. So we're very happy that Faith Academy has offered to you know, host the tournament. We're happy that the schools are very you know, they really express a lot of support for the sport. We're very appreciative of that.
How about yung mga upcoming tournaments? And are there any plans na makipag-usap with the Philippine Sports Commission with regards sa financial support?
So for upcoming tournaments, we actually have at least one tournament for until the middle of the year. So for March, we have Manila Tens. It's an international tournament. We have several teams, touch teams coming from different parts of Southeast Asia. We have we have 2 teams from Bangkok coming in. We have several teams from Singapore also coming in. So we're very excited about that. This is the first time that we're having touch rugby officially with Manila Tens. So we've had tournaments during Manila Tens for touch, but they're not they weren't open for any other teams aside from local teams. And Manila Tens is an international rugby festival. So we wanted to do the same for touch rugby for this year. So super exciting to see how that pans out. It's also a great opportunity for local players to have international players come in and compete with us. As you know, like, it's very important to play not just with the same old people that you've been playing with for a while, but also to also gauge how you are in terms of like compared to other elite players coming in from other countries. So that's one thing to watch out for. In April, we have the Philippine Beach Games in Lingayen, Pangasinan. So we've been part of PBG in 2019. I believe that's also the first year that PBG, you know, was unveiled, or it started in 2019. And now that, you know, we're safe to do sports again, and we're not the only ones participating in that event. There are also going to be other sports involved, since it's not just touch. So that's also one thing that we're looking forward to. We're going to be playing beach touch rules. So this time it's going to be on an actual beach instead of like in the turf field. So that's one thing that everybody looks forward to. And so far that's all we have. So that's in April, and then after that we would be focusing our efforts on training the national teams, since we hope to join at least one international tournament before Asian Cup. So we're still deciding whether we want to go to Singapore or Bangkok. Hopefully we can do both. But you know, we're still trying to figure out if the budget will allow us for two tournaments, international tournaments for the national teams. And in terms of support from the Philippine Sports Commission, that's something that we're still actively working towards you know, getting their support. We're still not affiliated, like officially affiliated with them. It's a process of like applying for it. And now that we have our affairs in order, we have like a whole new board now. We have more resources for this year. That's one thing that we want to accomplish by the end of the year, in preparation also for the World Cup for next year.
Okay, quickly, my last question. What are your aspirations and dreams para sa touch football to become more prominent like other main sports, Mika?
Aspirations, I think really just to spread the sport among more people, more Filipinos. It's a great sport for everybody. I think more so for Filipinos, since it's not so reliant on physical attributes, right? If you're playing basketball or volleyball, you have a distinct advantage if you're taller. And you know, not a lot of Filipinos have that height advantage. In terms of like, you know, natural physical abilities that Filipinos have, you know, we're fast, we're very nimble, and these are things that are, you know, very much desirable if you're playing touch rugby. So if you're fast, if you can, you know, if you have quick moves, quick reflexes, then you're already at a good starting point when you start playing touch rugby. That's why we really want to promote it to more Filipinos, since it's a perfect sport for us. And it's also, you know, non-contact sport. So that's not it's something that is safe to play regardless of like your size or your age, whether you're a woman or a man, it doesn't matter. You can play mixed, you can play with other women or other men if you want. So it's a very flexible sport. We hope to reach more people and to make sure that everybody knows just how fun this sport is and how great the community is. And for me personally, one of the things that really made me, you know, keep on playing is the community and the support that I've gotten from the community. I've made so many friends. I've had so many opportunities because of the sport. And it wasn't something that I was actually like, you know, concerned about when I started playing. When I started playing, I just wanted to try a new hobby basically. But then, you know, I've been playing for 6 years. And you don't really last that long in the sport if you don't enjoy it. So I hope to share that joy with more Filipinos. So that's really kind of like my aspiration overall. But for this year, for 2023, we want to, you know, create more teams, create more clubs, particularly through the school system, through PE teachers, and in particular outside of Metro Manila. and to make sure that our national teams are ready and well equipped for the international tournaments that they will be participating in towards the end of the year and for next year.
Again, thank you so much for joining us, Mika and Coach Cholo. At na-appreciate niyo po yung ating ginawa nating interview patungkol niya sa touch football. Since we ran out of time, mag-thumbs up muna tayo and smile para sa ating regular picture as a sign of support. 1, 2, 3. Okay, Coach Cholo, mabilisan na closing remarks at salamat sa lahat ng mga taga-suporta since we have 3 minutes left.
Yes, so thank you very much dito sa'yo, Gab, para sa pag-invite rin sa amin for this, no, for Sports Corner. Na ito talaga malaking factor yung reach na nagagawa ng mga ganitong event. Pero ngayon nabanggit ni Mika, something that I am currently pursuing is to network to more people. Right? Hindi yung mga emerging sport magiging successful lang siya kung ma-reach niya yung mga tamang tao. Yung mga taong willing tumulong, yung mga taong magiging interesado dito sa sport na to. And hindi ma-reach yung mga tao na yun kung wala yung mga ganitong opportunity. So maraming salamat sa iyo, Gab, and maraming salamat sa sa lahat ng susuporta, no, sa Touch Association Pilipinas, sa ating mga players sa national team, sa magiging national team, sa national development team. Right? Kailangan namin nung lahat ng suporta at kahit anong pwedeng itulong is malaking bagay, malaking factor that we will always be and that we will genuinely be grateful for. So, yun lang. Maraming salamat.
And again, Mika, thank you so much for joining us. Your final remarks.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gab, for inviting us for this interview. We really appreciate all the support that Sports Corner has been showing. That, like, I always know that Sports Corner, one of the first people to share our posts on social media. So I'm really grateful for that, and thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to talk about the sport. And hopefully we get more people to join. And if anybody wants to try out a new sport or a new hobby, we're here. Just send us a message. We'll be able to help you out.
Again, thank you so much, Mika and Coach Cholo, to joining us. Sana ma-realize ng mga tao yung mga fundamentals sa takbo, pasa at salo. And of course, sana mabigyan na ng suporta ng taong bayan at ang sports community sa mga activities natin ng top. Thank you so much and have a pleasant day ahead. Bye! Thank you po.
Maraming salamat din.